Hello and welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now, recently we featured a variant we called Picnic Sudoku because it combined two different Sudokus, Sandwich Sudoku and Thermo Sudoku. And if you go on a picnic, you might well take a thermos flask and sandwiches. A couple of different compilers were clearly inspired by the idea of a picnic Sudoku and have both created as puzzles featuring ants on their picnics. So they obviously also have other associations with picnics. So here's the picture that Matt Iverson sent us of his puzzle, and it's quite amusing, and converted into our software looks like this. So you can obviously play the puzzle as it's in our software. The link is below the video. Quickly, the rules are that the numbers outside the grid are sandwich clues. They show the totals of the digits between the 1 and the 9 in that row or column. So in a column with a 0, the 1 and the 9 must be next to each other, for instance. And the lines in the grid, or ants, are thermo clues. So from the bulb of the thermometer, the numbers must increase. So for instance, they must get bigger in this row out to this end. And similarly, if you went out to any end of these sort of diverging thermometers, the numbers must get bigger. So that's how they work, and I'm just going to have a go at this puzzle. Thanks very much to Matt Iverson for sending it to us. Of course, there's every chance that the other puzzle will be good too, and we'll have a go at that maybe in a week's time or so. So here we go. We've got some. There's an interesting thermo sandwich clue of 29, although all that rules out is the central 3. I'm going to colour them green just to show that there can't be a 1 or a 9 in those cells. Now let's have a look though at one of the longer ants. It's 5 cells from here to the end, to the ends of the ant. So I'm going to fill in the possible numbers. Now, I haven't gone to 5 in the first cell for a reason. This cell can't be an 8 because it needs 2 bigger numbers than it in the same row. So 7's as much as it can be. Now, this one can't be a 1 because of the 0 in this sandwich clue. That would have to have a 9 right next to it. So we can get rid of some of the possibilities straight away. What else can we deduce, if anything? Not much else, but this is becoming a quite restricted set here. Now, the interesting thing about the one at the bottom, in the same column, and I mean ants do march in columns, so that's not unrealistic. There are fewer possibilities here, but 9, for instance, cannot possibly be here. In fact, for the same reason that 8 couldn't be here, 8 can't be here or here or here, because if 8 was even here, it would need 2 bigger numbers outside it. So in fact, we know that 8 and 9 in this column must be in these 2 cells. That must form a pair. That's quite useful here. That means we can get rid of 8 and 9. This can no longer be 7, and that means that above it we can't have 6, 5 or 4. So now we've got a lot of these cells reduced to just 2 possible numbers. Don't know if that's entirely helpful. Now there has to be a 1 in the column somewhere, and obviously it's not in those 6, and it's got to be the smallest on the thermometer, so we can actually fill a 1 in there. The rest are much harder. I'm not sure if it's going to be worth putting these possibilities in. Ah, yeah, that's interesting that 5 and 6 are at the bottom. In fact, where does 7 go in this column? It's got to be somewhere in the column. It can't be here because that would put 8 here, which we know is impossible. So it's got to be at the bottom. So that has to be a 7. Has to have an 8 and 9 on either side of it on this ant. So that is a start, actually. 2, 3, 4. This could be 5 or 6 as well. I shouldn't leave that hanging. So okay, we've got something done there. This one now has to be 1, 2, 3 or 4 because that's the only possibilities after 6, 7, 8, 9 have come out. Now let's try the same trick here with this ant on the right hand side of the grid. Now again, I think we can conclude the same 4 possibilities until we get to the end. Actually, this one can't be a 9. We've deduced that. In fact, this sandwich clue's now got a 1 in it. That's very useful. So the 9's got to be here. These two have to add up to 6, which must be 4 and 2. Must be in that order because of this 2. 2 here and 2 here means there's got to be a 2 here. It's clearly in this cell. And that is some progress. Now 4 must be over this side of that box. 2, 4, 1. This can't be 2 or 4. 7, 6. This has to be bigger than this one. So 2, 4, 1, 6, 7 are gone, but it could be any of 5, 8 or 9. Now we can get rid of 4 here. And I think, no, that doesn't reduce anything. This could be 6, 7 or 8. We can get rid of 5. It's in the same box. 3 must be in one of those cells. Sorry, that's the wrong notation. Should be in the corner. As within this box, it must be in one of those cells. 3 must be in this row of this box here because it can't be in the bottom row. Therefore 3 must be in one of those 2 cells as well. 5 and 5 there and there. So 5 must be in column 7 in the central box of this column. Now can we use the 8 sandwich clue here? Clearly if this was a 1, that's okay. There's 2 interesting things going on there. One is that these 3 they're not 1 or 9, and they can't be in the sandwich because they'd make it too much, whatever they were. So we don't have a 1 or a 9 down here anywhere. So I could actually make all of these green just to show they're not in the sandwich. So that can't be 1 or a 9 either. Get rid of a 1 out of there. And the sandwich must be either these 2 cells or one of them. So this can be a 1 still, and then 9 could be either here or here. But still, that's quite an interesting bit of action. Let's look at this sandwich, this 15 down here. If 9 was here, 7, 8, yeah, 1 would be here. That would work, and that's quite plausible. If 9 was here, the 1 would have to be on the right-hand side. It can't be here, so I'm guessing 9's there. 1 can't be next to it or the one after. This one's green. 1 would have to be out here. These would have to... these 4 would be... Sorry, those 4 would be the sandwich contents. For them to add up to 15, they would have to be 2, 3, 4, 6. There's no other possibility for 4 digits. So that's not how it works. So in fact, the 9 is here. And that means, sorry, I shouldn't have made that green. Let's go back to white. And this one's 8. Therefore, 1 is there, and that sandwich is complete. Now, this 25 has to have at least 4 digits in the sandwich, but it can't have more than 5, I think, because that would leave 2 cells or 1 cell to add to 10. So 9 is either here or here in that column. Here, I want to look at that. I've had this naught available for ages and not really noticed it. I mean, I don't know if that would have progressed me any further, but we can put a 9 in there because it's next to the 1. In this column, 9 and 1 have to be next to each other. And they can't both be in this box because there's already a 9 in it. So at least those cells are not involved in the sandwich. It could be those two, or it could be any two in the top box. But again, a little bit of progress. 2, 4, 1, 6, 9, 7. So this can't be 6 anymore. This can't be 9. This is a 3, 5, 8 combination. Triple there. 5 here. These are all 2, 3, and 4. But we don't know in which order. That's interesting. 9 now has to be in this box here. 9 can't be those, can't be any of those, can't be that because of the 9 over here. So 9 is one of these two cells. And we know 9 is up here. Could actually be any of those three because it could still be 9, 8, 1. So not going to rule out that cell yet for a 9. This is nice. Now 14 in this column, and we've got the 9 place, so it can't go below it, clearly. It must be at least 2 cells above it, but now 14 can be as many as 4 cells. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but we can't use the 5. So it could be 2 cells or 3 cells. There's a 1 either here or here. If the 1 was here, then the 3 clue would mean this would be a 3, this would be a 9. The 8 clue would mean it would have to go up 8 here, 1 here, and that would put a 1 here and here. So that's not possible. So this isn't a 1, and therefore we know where the 1 is now. Get rid of that 1 possibility. Now, in this column, we have to have 1, 9 at the top, and 1, 9 in the 3rd cell, and the center of them has to be an 8 in that sandwich. The 14 here has to be 6 and 8, so we can place 6 and 8. That's nice. Get rid of the 6 there. That gets rid of the 5 there and the 4 there as possibilities. 7 must be in one of these positions, so we can get rid of the 7 there. Yeah, it's, you know, I like the way that this is working together. It's interesting how well Sandwich and Thermos do work together in this kind of picnic Sudoku variant. Now, we've got 1, 9 there. 1 or 9. So this 3, which can only be, leave the 1 or 9 2 cells apart. The 1 or 9 can't be here because this column's already been done. So 1 or 9 here and a 3 here. And that, we've used that 3. We haven't used this 24 yet, and we've got one of its extremities, so that's a 1 or a 9 there. Must be at least 4 cells, so one of these could be 1 or a 9. And if this was 24 with a 2 in it, the other 3 would have to be 22, and that's too much, so it must be actually 5 cells long. This one on the end must be a 1 or a 9, and so must the one beneath it because of the 0 clue at the top. And that's great. Now this one we had as 1 or a 9, there's a 1 below it, so that can be completed. We can start really working out which ways the 1s and 9s fall. We don't have a clue here, that's a shame. Now we do have a 15 clue in the center here that we haven't used yet. I think most of our other clues, oh no, look, this 24 clue, the numbers outside 24 must add up to 11. They must be 5 and 6, therefore. So I think this 25 clue, these two must add up to 10, and they can't be 3 and 7, but they could be 6 and 4, or they could be 2 and 8. Now this 15 that I was going to look at next, I don't really know. Okay, this one's green. These are obviously green because they're not 1s or 9s already. Now 15 has to have at least 2 cells between it, so it's got to be here and here for the 1 and 9. Pretty sure about that. We can put them in. This one has to be the 9 because there's already a 1 in the box. That's a 1. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that blue. Let's go back to green. These three cells add up to 15, 25, 35, 41. This must be a 4 outside it. These are 5, 3, and 7. This one is clearly a 3 with a 2 above it. This 2 is a 5, 7 pair. And I think we've used all the sandwich clues now. I might just go back to making the rest of the grid white now that we've used all the sandwich clues, just so that it's not so busy. Right. Now this one can't be 3, that must be 4 or 5. Better use the ants a bit more. This is a 3, 5, 8 set, so this has to be 2, 4, 6, 7 or 9. Can't be a 2 because of the Thermo shape of the ant. Well, I don't know. No, okay, 3. So that puts a 3 in one of those cells. That makes this one a 3. 3, 2. Now that makes this 4 and 5 as the ant continues, and 6 at the bottom. 7 out here. We can get rid of 6 and 7. 8's been ruled out down there. That's nice. So those ends of the ant there are complete. That must be 7, 6, and 8. That's fixed this 10 group. That must be 2, 8. We've got 4 and 7 in there. 6 must be here. 5 here, 1 here. This is very nice indeed. 3, 7, 2, 4. Yeah, I'm liking this puzzle a lot. That's got to be 5 now down there. 1 there. 3 and 5. 8, 3. Oops, 3. Yeah. This can't be 9 anymore. 2, 4, 1, 9. I don't know, maybe we need to keep working on this ant. So if that's 4 or 5, this is 5 or 7, and it can't be 5. So that's 7. That's 4. That's 5. We've got 6, 7, and 4 to place. Clearly that's 4. That's 6 or 7. This can't be 6 anymore, so it must be 8. This has to be higher than 6, so it must be 7. That makes this 6 and this 7. So we've got all the ants apart from this and this cell, which is fixed, are used up. This one has to be a 6 now. Brilliant. 3 and 5 there. And I think it's just regular Sudoku from there on in, and it should be fairly straightforward. We've got so much in the grid now. I'd be very surprised if this causes any hold-ups at this point. 3, yeah, the 7 and 4 at the top's been sorted. We get a 4 here. Let's just hope nothing goes wrong at this point. And what a nice puzzle. Thanks very much, Matt, for sending that. That's worked really neatly together, and it's a nice little combination. And ants crawling all over your picnic. As I say, we've got another in the ants on the picnic variations to come. So we'll get to that in due course. Thanks very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed this episode of Cracking the Cryptic. Bye for now.